Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hello and welcome to Empire Builders. There's lots of benefits of becoming financially free, and one of those is enjoying life's luxuries. One of those luxuries is being able to float around the world on your own boat and enjoy the summer sun. So today I thought I'll take a look at boating and see if it is something for the rich and famous, or if some of the average people and normal people can get into that industry as well. So joining me today is Ian Rose from Luxury Boat Syndicates.
Chris,
good to see you.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Now, Luxury Boat Syndicates sounds a beautiful name for a business, and we'll go into that later on. But why do some people say that the best day of owning a boat is the day you sell it?
There's a preconceived conception about the best day of owning a boat is the day you buy it and the day you sell it. This being, when you own a boat yourself, there's a lot of mounting costs. You don't usually use your boat that often, and when you do, nothing ever works. So that's why people are very happy to get rid of their boat, and they're so happy to stay when they sell it.
Because I guess it's like cars. A lot of people in luxury cars, they think, I'm going to depreciate it if I use it too much, and you've got the engine hours, so they decide not to use it, but it probably costs them twice as much to maintain it instead.
Well, that's right, and boats sit in salt water, and they're getting attacked by corrosion. They're also a mechanical moving part, which have engines, water pumps, hydraulics. All this needs fresh fuel, diesel, water, stop growth, bacteria. Even moving a boat around the marina or around the harbour provides rushing water to clean the hull.
So, just like a classic car, the more you use it, actually, the more reliable it's actually going to become. So, tell me about the concept behind boat sharing.
Boat share was based or developed because you're not going to use your boat every day of the week, so why pay for every day of the week? You can either have 2, 4, 6 or 8 owners, or even up to 12 if you wish, but you split the cost in the acquisition, the ongoing costs, and the depreciation as well.
Because is there an average thing in the industry that a boat owner would use it a certain amount of days?
Statistically, it says that boat owners will use their boat 14 days a year. We offer 43 days a year usage, which is ample and more than anyone can ever use.
So basically you're buying an eighth of the boat, so you've got an eighth of the cost, an eighth of the ongoings and the rest of it, and people are only using it 14 days. I mean, that's ridiculous for a typical person.
Also, when you own your boat outright, there's a lot of work that goes into it as well. Just to take it out for a day in the harbour, you've got all the covers to take off, you've got to prepare the boat. Once you've had the day out in the water, you need to come back and clean it, put the covers back on. These can be 3 or 4 hours in itself. If you're doing boat share, you may have an external manager which look after all these aspects for you as well. Therefore, you're more inclined to use your boats for maybe 2 hours or 3 hours because it's a hassle-free option and getting more time out in the water.
So I guess it's like the old days of, say, if you had a boat on a trailer or something, by the time you take it down to the trailer, down to the water, go and use it, and then you take it out and you've got to clean it and the rest of it, it's probably a whole day's trip to use it for 2 or 3 hours.
Correct. You find out it doesn't start, then all the headaches start happening, frustration sets in, and therefore when you sell your boat, it's a happy stay that you've owned that boat.
Right, okay. So how does the boat share kind of practically work?
Typically we have 8 owners, but not limited to. So each owner has an equity shareholding in that vessel, which will get you a prorated amount of usage. There's developed a booking calendar or a calendar system to determine who uses the boat and when, so that creates it fair and equal. Then we also have a manager that looks after that boat, or a team of guys that will look after it and provide a walk-on, walk-off service.
So effectively, when you're putting an eighth of the money into a boat, then it's owned within a legal entity, so you are actually an owner, you're not just paying into someone else's company.
You are. We set up a PTY Ltd company, whereby that company owns the vessel, and then individuals buy shares within that company. Therefore, if a management company goes insolvent, you have protection with that asset. Unlike a membership company where essentially you are renting the boat, it's with an ownership model, each owner has a vested interest and is more likely to look after the boat as well.
Right, okay. So, I mean, generally they think, especially if you're into big boats, like $1 or $2 million boats, like we've got some beautiful kind of pictures here, is that for the rich, or does boat sharing make it affordable like for literally anyone?
Boat sharing is not necessarily for people that are money poor, but essentially could be time poor as well. We have boats ranging from $250,000 up to $2 million, and obviously the cost is split over that as well. So I wouldn't say that boating is for only the rich and famous. We have everything from your tradesmen up to your hardened CEOs, retired couples and first-time boaters.
Yeah. Because when people get into boats, can you jump into a 60 or 70 foot boat straight away, or is it better, like, say, motorbikes or something, just start off with the Vespa and kind of move up from there?
My advice would always be start small and work your way up. Boating can be daunting, especially when you're in control of a 60-foot boat. In saying that, we do run a full training service as well, and a valet service when you come back to dock your boat. But being in a too big a boat too early can provide a bad experience and turn you off boating. So my advice would be start small and work your way up.
Because from practically owning a boat, then it's not like a car that suddenly if you get trouble, you just kind of stop, put the handbrake on and run out of the car.
That's right.
I guess for the boat, you can't really do that, can you?
No, brakes don't have boats, unfortunately. And you get affected by the wind a lot and tide and current. And each time you go out on a boat, your conditions are always different. So it's something that you must be mindful of as well.
Yeah. Because I guess the liability is there. Obviously, we don't want to scare people, but it's trying to give people the right reality is that if you come into a marina and it's blowing gale force and you don't know what you're doing, you can be smashing lots of millions of dollars of boats up. Yeah,
well, coming to some of the marinas, there's an untold amount of money sitting there. But with proper training, we can help there. Also with the newer boats, they have the latest technology. So some are joystick control and bow thrusters and the like. Also, never be afraid to ask for help. There's no heroes out there on the water. If it takes you 10 times to get that boat back in the marina, then that's better than the time the guy put on the rocks.
Yeah, so when you see all these boats in kind of Saint-Tropez and Cannes and things like that, and everyone's watching, you're better off having the reputation that you're a bad driver than physically crashing into them and going from there. So in terms of the average boater, when people get into the boat shed, do they maybe start using the boat a bit more now because then it's slightly easier to use?
It's average boater. I wouldn't say they start using it a bit more, but there's a bit of a novelty side to it as well. There's a lot to explore within the harbour as well. Once you've conquered Sydney Harbour, there's always Pittwater, Jarvis Bay, Lake Macquarie as well. It also depends what you want to get out of your day in boating. Everyone uses their boat to a different degree.
Yeah. And I guess, can you be like a Sunday kind of driver? Do you have to know everything about the navigations and winds and all that kind of stuff? Or on a bright sunny day, can you go out in, say, a Sydney Harbour or wherever you are in the world and have it kind of plain and simple?
The best way, you could always get a skipper as well. That's another option you can look at. But when you first start boating, you take things easy and gradually. It's like riding a bike for the first time. Once you get your training wheels off, you don't go out to Eastern Creek. You take things gradually, just go to the nearest beach. You don't venture too far from home. Once you get comfortable with that, then you can start taking it further and further. You can also go into Darling Harbours and different marinas, and you use their facilities as well. Yeah.
Now, obviously you've got the cost of the boat. You've then got kind of running, so I assume you're paying for fuel afterwards and food and drinks and things like that. Are these big boats kind of petrol hungry and you're paying a fortune for that?
Technology's come a long way, and generally all the bigger boats are run by diesel, and it's like anything, it's how you drive it. Typically, your average spend on fuel out in the harbour is about $100 to $150. Your additional cost of fuel catering is what you decide to bring on the boat, or you may get a caterer or even come on board the boat.
So I'm guessing that a lot of this kind of stuff is a business, and we'll definitely talk about the business a bit more in detail later, that a lot of it is basically just going for whatever whim these guys want. That if you've got a customer coming on and they want someone to drive the boat, they want food and catering or whatever else, or entertain 20 people on there, you can pretty much look after everything.
Yeah, we do a full concierge service as well as the boat share model as well. As I said, some people they use it for corporate, some people are family. Some people just like going to their local beach without sitting amongst the masses. Some people use it early morning, late afternoon. It all depends on the individual.
Yeah, and certainly looking at some of these fit outs here, looking at some of these boats, I guess people are kind of enjoying these boats, and it's almost kind of better than their own lounges or the hotels they kind of stay in.
Yeah, it's like a floating hotel, a luxury office. You can move anywhere around the harbour. It's not fixed.
So certainly some pretty good style there. And do you get different kind of users that people are just doing it for the family, or they're just using it for corporate, for business, for parties?
Yeah, we definitely get a mix of everything, and some people use it purely for corporate. Reason being is we can provide full catering, hostess, multiple pickups and drop-offs. Then some people just want to use it for family entertaining. Boating is one thing that all generations enjoy, being from the toddlers to the kids to the grandkids, grandparents, mum and dad. There's not too many people that don't like being on a boat.
So certainly sounds good. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the first section of 4 talking about boat sharing. And this is really just to give you a glimpse that if you suddenly thought it's going to cost you a few $1 million to buy a boat and you've got to be hyper wealthy to get in there, this is certainly something to show you that you definitely don't need to be that wealthy, and it is something that's opening up for more people. Now join us after the break and we'll give you more details. Welcome back to the show. Today we're talking about how to get into $1 million boats for a fraction of the cost, to try and open it up for those people that are trying to get the $1 million lifestyle without quite being there. Today we're joined by Ian Rose from Luxury Boat Syndicates, which pretty much says it all. So Ian, you've got this amazing boat share kind of company. What kind of boats can you get into? Are they all super $1 million boats, or do we start at a fraction cheaper?
Well, a little bit of background. You'll be surprised at how many boats on the harbour are owned by more than one person. Now, whether it's an 18-foot boat or a 50-foot boat or a 100-foot boat, they may have multiple owners. I've seen boats syndicated from 17-foot and up, but within Luxury Boat Syndicates, we start with a 28-foot boat, then we move to a 35, a 40, 45 and 52. So no matter what size or what budget, you can always have more than one owner.
And so we're looking at a thing here called a Chris Craft, which is an absolutely beautiful. I think it's almost like the Bentley of boats.
Correct.
It's just absolutely beautiful, isn't it?
Now the Chris Craft is a very premium brand. It's an American brand. It's like your Aston Martin on the water. They are a $300,000 day boat, so therefore I thought it's the boat that everybody wants but no one can afford, so that's why we specifically chose Chris Craft as our premium day boats. And to break down that cost, you can pull these into beaches anywhere, you can take them offshore, they really make a perfect family day boat.
And again, it's paying that much more, because you can get into the same size boat for maybe $100,000, but you get into something like this and it's just rock solid, that beautiful wood on there, you're just getting the best of the best. So rather than buy, I guess, a rubbish boat 100% yourself, why not get into something much better and have 4 or 8 of you in there?
Yeah, you'll also find, if you can find a boat that costs say $100,000, these boats originally cost $250 to $300. You may also find that your running cost and your maintenance cost outweigh that depreciation, something that you'll constantly be fixing and always tipping money into.
Now, we got some of the pictures of the bigger boats as well, and you've gone for an Absolute brand.
Absolute, a fairly new player into the boating market, sort of comparative to your Princesses and your Sunseekers. They're an Italian-built product. They're a very forward-thinking brand, and they use an IPS drive system. This is a pod-driven system, which makes the boat really easy to park and really easy to dock. So for our application with novice boaters, it takes the stress out of pulling those boats into the tight berths into marinas.
Yeah, because I remember I started in boating 10 or 15 years ago, and you'd literally have the 2 levers, and if the wind's blowing you sideways, you're pretty screwed. You've got to be seriously good at what you do, whereas now so this pod thing is just the joystick system, isn't it?
It's a joystick-driven system, and it takes out any stress when you're parking a boat. The old system of needing 2 screws and a steering wheel and a bow thruster, you sort of need 3 hands. Now it's just a finger and thumb, all done by electronics. They can combat up to 30 knots of wind, and these old school thruster systems may be struggling 10-15 knots of wind.
Yeah. And what kind of dollar value are these boats?
We have boats up to $1.5 million. Absolute start from 40 foot and then work up to 72 foot. At the moment, our flagship is 52. We are looking at a 60 for next year, which goes into $2.5 million. But once again, you can pay $350,000 compared to $2.5 million.
It's a massive difference, isn't it?
It's a massive difference, and to be honest, you're probably going to use it as much, if not more, if you own it outright yourself.
Yeah. So obviously,
to continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.